Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest today is actor Will Brittain. He stars in Wayward, my favorite movie of 2025. Are you guys getting tired of me saying that? It really is. There's some exciting news today. You can watch it. I've talked about it. I've seen it, and I've told you all about it. Talked to some of the great actors in the movie. It's available today for streaming. I just found it on Amazon. It's also on Apple Plus and Google Plus. So Will plays the role of Frank in the film. And
Yeah,
here's the
yeah,
hey, and that's him. There he is. Well, let
yeah.
me. I'm going to brag about you a little bit. I'm not bragging. I'm going to uh, talk about all your accomplishments. I should let you brag for yourself. I'm going to introduce you a little bit here, Will, and set up the movie. So here's that storyline for Wayward. While moving from Idaho to Los Angeles with her mother, an 11-year-old girl yearning for stability becomes smitten with a charismatic female hitchhiker that they pick up along the way. And as she detaches more and more from her mother, the girl forms an unlikely bond with the hitchhiker, blurring the line between running away and kidnapping. And sometimes getting lost is the only way out. Will's an actor known for Wayward, Blow the Man Down, which was one of my favorites that I've seen also a couple years ago, though. Kong, Skull Island, Everybody Wants Some, Richard Linklater's film. William, The Forever Purge, which I've been to. I'm a little scared to watch that one. I haven't seen that yet, but I think I'm gonna have to be brave and watch it. A Teacher, and Let Him Go with Diane Lane and Kevin Costner. Will began his acting career in 2001, making his debut in the film, excuse me, in the drama film Big Boy, which he played the lead role of David Grace. He also directed WiLdMan. And in 2018, he received critical acclaim for his off-Broadway performance in Skintight, a 9-week production at the prestigious Roundabout Theatre in New York City. He was critically praised for his performance, which the Observer referred to as not just a brilliantly funny performance, but one that succeeds in injecting a character made to be purposely vacant with complexity. He's currently working on no less than 3 new film projects. And today we're catching up with Will by way of Austin, Texas. Welcome, Will.
Thank you so much. That was quite the intro and very generous. I did pay that reporter for the Observer a small fee for the skin type review. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. But
I don't believe
nah,
that. I think that was genuine.
the way you read the description of Wayward was really sexy. And if I could just get that if you could just describe any recipe or book like that, that would be absolutely amazing, man. I'm telling you what.
Anytime, man. I'd love to work with you on something. Well, I think this is so exciting. Wayward is available to stream today. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited for people to see it. Really honored to be a part of. Yeah.
So it's I was talking with Chloe and with Jess Wexler, and they had to go back in memory because you filmed this, what, 6 years ago? And
We filmed this in 2020. Man, we filmed
okay.
this at sort of kind of the kickoff, not the kickoff, but the middle stages of the pandemic in
Right.
LA in November. And it was right around Thanksgiving. And I remember it specifically because I had just moved with my wife from LA back to Austin, Texas. I went to school here at UT,
Hmm.
and we had just bought a house and just found out that my wife was pregnant. Um, and just found out that we were having a little girl. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we're filming Wayward I'm giving away my best story first, but why not? And we're filming Wayward, and we're staying in this little house in the Hollywood Hills. And this sounds like fancy. It was a fancy house. We're staying in a room in this house in the Hollywood Hills, right? And it's me, my wife, and our 75-pound black lab. And every day, like we get done filming, we're going on walks around the Hollywood Hills. It's kind of enchanting. We know we've got this baby on the way. We know it's going to be a little girl. It's right around Thanksgiving. I'm walking on some random street in the hills, and I step on a little cardboard, like what do you call it? Construction paper cutout of a turkey that was clearly done in like an elementary school classroom, right? Like these
Yeah.
little, the little orange circle and little feathers coming out, whatever. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And I reach down and I pull it off my shoe and flip it over. And the name on the turkey is Isabella Rose, which is
Oh,
the name that we had pre-decided on for our
wow.
daughter. And I was like, I got chills telling the story every time because I was like, what are the odds? I'm walking on some random thing. I step on this turkey. I flip it over. It's the name of my daughter, who's even yet to be born,
That's
whose
incredible.
name we decided on, like, I don't know, 5 years ago or whatever it was on our honeymoon. You know, like if we have a little girl, she's going to be called Isabella Rose. And then here I am filming this movie back in LA after just moving to Austin, step on this little construction paper turkey. So there was good vibes on the movie from the start,
Yeah.
and there was little magical things like that that happened for me throughout the filming process that made me think like, man, I'm in the right place at the right time. Like God's got me where he wants me to be. This is supposed to be happening, you know?
That's what I want to ask for. I mean, that's a beautiful story. And it sounds like such a special time. I can see connecting Wayward now having a special, marking a special time in your life for you and your wife and your daughter on her way. But what was the sign that you took from that? What did you guys, I mean, that's like, whoa, you must have
Well,
just looked at each other and said, what is going on?
yeah, well, the movie was originally titled Story of Women, right? And then, while I'm filming this movie, I find out that, my wife's pregnant with a girl. Um, and I'm working with all these amazing women and Jocelyn, a female director, and we're doing this thing. And it was just kind of like, yeah, this is a story of women. Like, of course, I step on this thing that's Isabella Rose, the name of my daughter. You know what I mean? Of course. Like, it was just kind of, I don't know, man. It was just a right place, right
That,
time, like sign from the universe situation.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Wow. That's a great story. So there are many villains, right, in the movies. There's almost a villain in everything I see these days, but most of them are sort of played cartoonish and over the top. Um, I don't know how many ways you can play a villain differently or someone that has bad intentions and has flaws, but not with you. Your portrayal of Frank is brilliant and super fresh. I've never seen a more compelling bad guy. The only other person I could think of is maybe uh, in True Romance when Gary
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
play,
yeah, yeah.
I can't think of anything that fresh as Frank. And when I would watch him, I just wanted to know more about him. Like I was so curious by your character and the choices you made as Frank. I almost liked him, which I knew I was
Good.
not supposed to do, right? It seemed like to me it was like a magic trick where where they watch here, they move your eye, you move the attention somewhere else, and there's the trick. How did that get past me? And that's what you're acting, and that is just so brilliant. Um, so
Thank you.
like the movie, the storyline, as I was saying before we came on air, and all the performance in Wayward move so quickly. Um, it's kind of like a less is more rule, but the more comes through in the acting and the way the story moves along, and that's credit to you guys as actors in the film. One of my favorite scenes, though, this is what I'm getting to. is when you, I think it's your first scene, it's when you and your girlfriend in the film Orbison, played by Jessica Sula, share a meal in a dirty diner with your captive. You recently kidnapped Cleo, played by Chloe Kidry. And Frank pours various condiments into a saucer and he mixes them with his fork and he arranges his plate and his utensils. Everything has to be just so. And then he does another thing, which I thought was interesting too, as for the character, he corrects Orbison's table manners and kind of shows us that even though he kidnaps children for ransom, he also has principles. And it tells me so much about the character with almost no dialogue. So I thought, I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, that choices you made as an actor for your role. Incredible. So tell me about how you made those particular choices in that scene.
Well, I have to give credit to the script here. I think it said something to the effect of Frank arranges, his condiments, that rearranges the condiments on the table in the script, and so you look at that and you go, okay, well, he's particular, and then that can evolve into he's OCD, and
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, maybe he's OCD, maybe he's particular, maybe he's just stressed. And so he's trying to control any aspect of his environment that he can control. And then, the guy kidnaps people or he's a criminal or whatever. So I don't know. I, I look at something like that and I go, okay, um, everything has a system, this is supposed to go here, this is supposed to go here, and you would imagine that someone who's a criminal living the life of a criminal lives by a certain code systems.
Right.
Um, I don't think Frank's a bad guy at all. I never did. I think, I don't I don't I don't think bad guys know they're bad guys. And if they do, it's, I don't know. I don't think this is a hard or fast rule, but it's usually one or two. They know they're a bad guy and they've come to terms with it, or they know they're a bad guy and they're trying to find some sort of redemption from it.
Hmm.
And maybe that happens over the course of a film. Maybe one or both of those things happen, or maybe they never happen, and you go, "Dang, that guy really never found any enlightenment." I don't know.
Well, he did, and you're right. Frank does, and
Right.
and he slowly, and I don't want to give anything away here, but the way the character developed by by the end of it, you really like him, right? You really, and I don't want to give it away, but he makes a choice that you kind of root for, and you're not expecting either. You're not expecting his choice to be the voice of reason, but I got to be very careful here because I don't want to give
Yeah.
that.
Right. Of course. Of course. Of
Um,
course.
but you're right. He's likable. I liked him, and the principles. You say it was on the page, but
Mhm.
it was also in your eyes and your expressions and and the way you were living that. I don't know. I just loved that scene. I loved your acting in this, and I don't mean
Thank
to
you.
embarrass you and go on and on, but it
No,
really.
no, well, I
What was
appreciate it. I really do. I'll never eat a mixture of mayonnaise and ketchup again after filming that scene. I
I
think
was
I
gonna
took
ask what
down.
was in the sauce.
Yeah, it's mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together. I think that's like I don't know. Is that like McDonald's secret sauce or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
right, yeah. I mean, that happens filming movies, you eat the same thing over and over again for 4 hours straight, and then you go, well, that's it on ketchup's dipped in mayonnaise and ketchup. I'm good on those.
It's interesting. Now that makes sense. So he's trying to make a McDonald's Big Mac type hamburger with the secret sauce.
Right.
So you live in Austin, Texas, and not in Hollywood, although I'm sure you spend a lot of time out there filming. Do you feel close to the Hollywood lifestyle, to the community in
I
terms of
do. I
belonging
do.
without living there?
Yeah, I feel close enough. I feel as close as I want to feel,
Mhm.
I have friends and a community and representation in Los Angeles and New York still. So, um, The pandemic did a nice thing in that it sort of ripped all that apart and allowed it to sort of be reassembled in this way where people go, oh, actually you can live in Austin or Georgia or Chicago or really wherever you want to live. You could live in Hot Springs, Arkansas if you wanted to, and you can still be an actor. The biggest obstacle is how close is the nearest international airport, and
Right.
how much money do you want to spend on flights? But things are done digitally now. Things are done over
Mhm.
Zoom. Even if you live in LA, you don't necessarily go into rooms for meetings as much anymore. So
Yeah. So, do you still audition, or do you just send in a
I,
tape, or?
you send in a tape, and then if
Yeah.
you're doing a follow up audition or a callback or whatever, you do it over Zoom. And if you're, I mean, I just went from start to finish on a project a couple of weeks ago in that same process. And, you're meeting the directors over Zoom, you meet producers, everyone, it's sort of how it is now.
Do you
Yeah.
like it that way, or does it take anything away from that connection that you get in the room?
It does take away. It does take away. You have to do your best to imagine that connection's happening. I try to do a really good job. I prefer to perform here out of my house just because I can really control that environment. I don't have to worry about a fire alarm off or a dog barking or anything that throws off that situation. But the I think it was who was it? Who is it? Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think, has this quote about auditioning where it's like someone is paying rent on a building, and people are working a job, and they've bought a camera, and they're paying a lot of expense just so you can walk into a room and do what you love to do for free. It's a free opportunity to act.
Yeah.
And that part of auditioning in person, of walking into a room, seeing all those people and feeling all the eyes on you and knowing, okay, this is my chance in my moment. It's harder to recreate that feeling on Zoom, but you just have to kind of take that in and still sort of imagine, because it is real. I mean, everyone's setting, an hour out of their day to sit in front of a computer on Zoom and watch your performance. I mean, I just watched it's kind of famous on the internet right now, Lily Rose Depp's audition for Nosferatu on Zoom, right? So I don't know. I don't know if you've
No, I
gotten to see
haven't
that
seen that.
film
I
yet.
haven't even heard about it. I got to
Uh,
check it out.
it's great. It's Nosferatu classic retelling of Dracula's story, but Lily Rose Depp plays this sort of love interest of Dracula in the story, and she has this really powerful scene of physical acting that she has to do, and she's essentially become possessed by this um, demonic spirit, for what have you, and she's doing that on Zoom in her apartment, just like by
Hmm.
herself. And it's hard. That's hard to do. That's hard enough to do on a movie set or on stage, with a director, 15 feet away saying, yeah, yeah, just try that. But you're just doing it. And so you're just kind of, oh, there's my kitchen. There's my pot of coffee right there. Or there's my cat asleep in the corner, I just auditioning for this thing, and it was another villain type role. And I was doing the audition, and it was really intense. And I'd asked my wife to leave, get the baby out of here, get out. I don't want you in the house. I need a safe environment to just feel
Hmm.
like I can be a nutcase with this. And I do the whole thing, and it goes well, really well. And I still have that same 75-pound black lab. And I'm changing clothes. I go in the bedroom and I'm changing out of the clothes I wore for the audition. And he's just sitting in the middle of the room, just shaking. And I realized, like, oh man, I forgot to get you out of the house, dude. My bad. Like, and he's just experiencing the trauma of listening to me be this crazy person on an audition. And I'm like, oh, buddy, and we go on a walk, and he talked to me about it, and I let him know it was just acting, dad wasn't being serious, whole situation.
That's great. So,
But yeah,
you,
it is that thing where it's like, oh, there's my dog.
in a way, that's got to be like a compliment or flattering. You've even affected your dog. Your dog is being affected by the
Let me
scene.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. If the dog don't get it, you ain't gonna book it. You know, dogs are just
Huh.
emotionally, they're so emotionally tuned in. I've been rehearsing lines around my dog, and maybe like the guy's like, I don't know, laughing or in a good mood or whatever. And he'll start bouncing around like, what's up, man? What are we talking about here? You know, like
He's
if he's not
you're
tapping into it, then you haven't tapped into it, you know?
he's
So
a
it's
scene your scene partner, and he's your
straight up.
compass in a way.
Yeah,
Like you
he's
can
my
gauge.
compass. Yes.
That's
It's a good,
awesome.
yeah, it's a good
What's
way
your
to put it.
dog's
Yeah.
name?
Lazarus. Yeah. Yeah.
Lazarus. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. We brought him back from the dead, you know, it was the whole thing. Raised him up. So,
Mm, I love labs, especially black labs. A favorite.
yeah. Oh yeah. He's a
I've
good
got a studio puppy in here who may bark myself. He's at my feet right now in the studio, but uh,
perfect.
Yeah, Sagizo, named after the Japanese rock star. He's a
That's awesome.
everybody's like, what Sagizo? What kind of name is that?
I get the same thing. I get, Lazarus.
Yeah.
Long story short,
Well,
he got
Lazarus
really,
kind of makes sense it seems to me for an actor.
yeah,
Actors
well,
don't.
yeah, well, yeah, I know it's very posh, but he got sick when we first got him. Long story short, and almost died. He got parvovirus, and this dude was like, "We've had this dog for like 3 days." And we're like, "Great, okay, we're gonna lose this dog
Mhm.
we've already fallen in love with." But we took him to a really great vet, and they helped nurse him back, and so we named him Lazarus because he literally pretty much came back from the
I'm back
dead.
from the
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah,
I'm glad. I'm happy that he did for you. I'm happy.
yeah,
I love that idea of him as your scene partner, or your compass, or bounce ideas off me. I'm here for you, man.
yeah,
I'll let
yeah,
you know
yeah.
how I feel about it, how he
Yeah.
reacts. It's great. Let's take a real quick break here. My special guest today, Will Brittain. He plays Frank in the new film Wayward. It's out today streaming. It's finally available, so get it. Sometimes getting lost is the only way out. It's available streaming on Apple TV, Google Plus, and Amazon. I found it today on Amazon. I looked at all three places and found it on Amazon. Waywardfilm.com is where you can find out more about the film and the cast and special screenings where you can meet. I don't know if they're still out there doing this, but I know Jacqueline and Jess, Chloe. I know Will even have appeared at these screenings and done a Q&A after or before. You can find the film on Instagram at Wayward underscore the film. On IMDb, check out Will Brittain and his great body of work that he's amassing there. And you know what I loved? I loved it's a checklist for me of movies I want to see that I haven't seen. It's a good checklist for future movie watching. If you're like me and you're always looking for something new. On X, you can follow Will at E, Will underscore E Brittain. Brittain spelled Brittain. And go behind the curtain of the film Wayward before you watch it. You can listen to my past interviews with director and writer Jacqueline Froelich, with Jess Wexler, who plays Arlene, the mother of Cleo, played by Chloe Guidry. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.